Hey guys, it's Dane. This isn't really a legit video. I've got one scripted video that I filmed and is in editing. I'm experimenting with some editing, but this isn't scripted. This is more of an audio journal. And the reason I'm making it is because I just watched the film Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters, and I felt compelled to just make something right away on it. I'm sure I'm going to have a Substack article and probably TikTok video sort of covering my thoughts on it more in depth and when I've had time to digest, but it moved me today. It made me cry. That's the reason I'm making this now. Not a lot of films today, or even moments. I can't remember the last time I cried. I've always been a sensitive kid. Growing up, goodbyes especially were always very difficult for me, even into adulthood. The last time I've had a real legit cry probably was when I moved out here from home and said goodbye to my father and my dog, and not goodbye forever, obviously. I still see them on trips and stuff, but that was kind of the last big cry I suppose I had, but this film got it out of me. Of course, I've known about Mishima for a while now. Funnily enough, my dad, he's a professor of creative writing and film and that sort of thing, so a lot of the directors and movies and books that I've gotten into, he's kind of first exposed me to as a kid, what have you. But with Mishima, that wasn't the case, although it turns out it's kind of a coincidence. He's been exposed to some of Mishima's work, and that was something I kind of came into independently, so it's kind of funny. We came up in conversation, and he recommended the film to me, so watched it today, and in terms of films that usually get to me emotionally, Old Yeller's my classic example. I mean, who doesn't cry watching Old Yeller? But Old Yeller, that's something that's like kind of designed almost to make you cry. I mean, it's a kid and his dog, and the dog goes rabid, and he has to put the dog down. Who doesn't get emotional watching that? But Mishima, this film, I don't think it's something a lot of people that I know, at least my friends, family, etc., would necessarily get that emotional over. And I didn't expect to either. I mean, I know how his real life story ends. I knew what was coming, and of course I knew it was going to be on screen because, how can you not include his little coup and speech and seppuku? Seppuku, is that how you pronounce it? I'm not sure. But the film was good. I've obviously got some thinking to do on terms of what I want to say about it, but when I got to that climax moment, and it's coming from the beginning of the film, the way it sets it up, started getting a little emotional, and the soundtrack, the music score is excellent. I mean, sets you up for a dramatic moment for sure, but I felt it a little bit, and then kind of behind my eyes I get that kind of pressure, and then it kind of went away when the moment came for him too, and then it was cut with, it's kind of interplayed with some of his books, dramatizations of his books, and the scene from Runaway Horses where the student in that story commits seppuku also shows his right after Mishima's, and in Mishima's it's focused on his face. It doesn't show his abdominal area, but with Runaway Horses it does, and the blood is out on his abdomen. And there's a red sun in the distance. He's on a coastal cliff. And the tears just sprung out of me. I had it was a real sudden and a real good cry. And of course, you got to think, why did it make me cry? Funny little sidetrack before I get into that. I'm smoking a cigarette. Mishima, of course, smokes cigarettes. And in fact, something I'm going to cover in my book in a chapter on cigarettes and death, one of the last things he smoked before committing seppuku was a cigarette that came from a pack that the emperor had issued out. It was almost like I don't think royal seal is the right kind of word, but an imperial gift, something to that extent. The film, of course, showed him smoking cigarettes throughout various moments, but it didn't show him smoking this, now I'm sure, very rare cigarette. But, thought it was fitting. Helps me to be a little looser on camera anyway, and got a cool little ashtray. Don't get to show. TikTok doesn't let you smoke on camera, obviously, so funny enough, I got this off the TikTok shop, and can't even really make videos about it. But it was something about, he was out there talking to the crowd of soldiers and the journalists, the police, and he's trying to get them to understand him and what he's doing and engender this national soul and spirit that he felt like was washed, the spirit of the samurai, Bushido, to kind of reject the materialist financial advances. And they didn't get it. They were jeering at him, and it really struck a chord with me, seeing him pour his soul out. And of course it's a film, but this actually happened. This is how it went down. Just this crowd that just laughing at him, jeering at this real sincere expression of vitality and beauty is lost on them. And then he had the conviction to see it through to the end. Something he kind of touches on throughout the film and throughout his works is this kind of mask. He was born a sickly kid. He missed out on the war. He sabotaged his own military exams, and he never really got to put his art into action, really be what he believed in. And this was his moment. This was his moment to actually embody all of the values that he held, what was really in his heart. And he didn't chicken out. he really went for it, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see, and it made me feel a little bit shameful. Not shameful to cry. I think it's no shame in crying over something touching, something with real beauty. There's nothing wrong with that. I think people go way too far with the men hold in their emotions. They should express them freely and cry all the time. No, I don't think that. I think man should only let his emotions like that get the best of him when it truly is something worth shedding tears over. And this to me was it was. The reason I felt shame is because when I look at him, he had some shame to work through. Like I said, he was an excellent writer, was popular, all of these things, but he felt a little bit of fraudulence. until he actually went through and did this action. And I think, I look at all the moments in my life. I've got a great platform. I never would have imagined I have the platform I have now, and I'm doing well in my life in general. I've got a good career, and I'm very fortunate to have been doing what I'm doing. And when I look at my achievements academically, professionally, all those things, I'm very happy with what I've done, sports-wise, martial arts, wrestling, fraternity-wise, everything. But I have also wasted so much time not pursuing higher ideals, not bettering myself, not expressing my true self. And to be frank with this video, I've got this YouTube channel. I've put up 2 videos. I've written a few scripts. I have scripts in development, all this, but I could always be doing more. And it's never too late. That was the thing with Mishima. It wasn't too late. He expresses a sentiment that in older times, Roman times, the average age, and he says something, it was 22, I think that's what he said, and he expressed that heaven must have been beautiful, and now heaven must be so ugly. You get to 40 and you're never going to be as beautiful again, and you kind of just decay and rot away. And I think about the limited time I have. I'm young, but I don't have forever to achieve the goals and the vision that I have. I'm about to be 25. I expect a pretty long life. My family is pretty long lived in general on both sides. My parents are in excellent health. My grandparents are in good health. My grandma, she's in her mid-90s now, and she's still sharp as a tack, but you get there eventually, one way or another. And there's so many moments I have in my life where I didn't take a chance, didn't take an opportunity, didn't do as much as I could have. With my wrestling, I was team captain, and I went to state, and that was great. It was such an amazing experience, and not many people get to accomplish that. But had I had the philosophical outlook that I've developed now, then I think I could have been even more in that field. There's times I skimped out on training or lifestyle, what have you. But the past is the past, and now I want to continue to develop the kind of work ethic and ideals that I want to drive towards, and I want to engender that in other people. I want to, kind of what I talked about in my last video, the anti-Icarus video, I want to get people to jump and to fly, and I want to fly. I've always had an excess of caution. I've always overthought things. Even with this video, I was thinking, I've never hopped on camera without a script, or at least a pretty well rehearsed idea in my head of what I want to say. And this is the first time I'm already way past my bullet points. And I just want to talk and express these things. So it's really impacted me. Life is beautiful, but you have to make it beautiful. You have to embrace the beauty. You have to put yourself out there, and you have to work at it. You can't sit on your laurels and let things pass you by, and you can't let the fear of the crowd or how you'll be perceived get to you. He says something in the film, which I'm sure was taken from his life, where I can't remember the exact quote, I should have put it in a bullet point, but he said something along the lines of, he goes out on stage to make the audience cry, and they laugh. But you can't control what your audience does, how people perceive you, and you can't let that stop you from trying, from expressing yourself. So that's really all I wanted to say. I'm appreciative for the platform I've got and the life I have, and I want to make it even better. I want to take it further. I know Mishima is a controversial figure, and a lot of the things he says are obviously extreme, and he has a very complex life and a different view of things than most people have today or would be considered acceptable. And I don't agree with all of the sentiments he might hold. That pursuit of beauty, I admire. I really do. If you made it this far through my rambling, I appreciate it and expect some more refined thoughts on the film and just everything I do in general. So, cheers, everybody. It's been a pleasure. This has been great for me, even if no one watches it, to just express myself this way. It's great. So, take care. Have a great week. I don't know if I'll get this out tonight, but you know, that's all I've got. All right, take care.